The First World War and the Great Spanish Influenza pandemic of 1918 slowed Albuquerque's population growth. This sluggish growth continued into the next decade, with only 15,000 residents living in Albuquerque. In spite of this, the 1920s were the start of the city's heyday for commercial architecture, involving movie theaters, hotels, and Albuquerque's first skyscraper. It was on July 11, 1921, that the National Association of Real Estate Boards approved Albuquerque's real estate board for membership, even though it had only 20 members. Most of these founding Albuquerque Real Estate Board members had their offices on or near Gold Avenue in what was known as the Wall Street of Albuquerque. 5 individuals served as president during the Albuquerque Real Estate Board's first decade: Hal Franklin, R.J. McCanna, Roland Guthridge, Kenneth D. Balcom, and Charles E. McDuffie. They were individually responsible for the development of the Raynode, the Parkland Hills, and the College View additions.
You start to get builders' names associated with different areas and different houses, styles, and they get a reputation of, this is a McDuffie house from the 1920s and 30s. And McDuffie, to me, who was a past president of GAR, he really revolutionized the subdivision development in Albuquerque at a very early stage. In the 30s, when he worked in the College View Historic District, which is just the other side of Carlisle from Monte Vista, he developed a system of building houses very quickly by kind of that mass production. My carpenters are all set to do this, my plumbers are all set to do this, we have all the materials stashed, and boom, 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 up they went. The Albuquerque Journal called him the House a Week McDuffie.
The mass production of homes in larger subdivisions was hampered in large part by the lack of home financing. Home mortgages of the type we see today were unheard of. Banks generally did not offer mortgage loans. Instead, builders or would-be homeowners borrowed the money from private companies, individual investors, or small building and loan associations. Loans were usually for only 50% of the appraised value, usually required that they be paid in full or refinanced within 5 years of origination. Long-term mortgages would not become commonplace until the mid-1930s.
The ease of buying a house was created in 1937 when the Federal Housing Administration was passed in Congress, which then allowed government subsidies of housing to ensure mortgage rates were uniform and that you could borrow enough money to comfortably live in your house. Prior to that, there had been just short-term loans with big balloon payments that was often difficult for homeowners.
On June 30th, 1924, the Albuquerque Real Estate Board was recognized in the National Real Estate Journal for its successful effort in raising $40,000 to promote the city of Albuquerque as a place to invest and live.
That idea that Albuquerque kept providing the modern, the new, the up-to-date opportunities for people in New Mexico meant that it really was a boomtown in so many different ways.
While the Albuquerque Real Estate Board professionalized the local real estate business, marketing strategies evolved from simple notices in the local newspaper sections to elaborate open house celebrations. The very first open house was held on May 27, 1928. The open house was hugely successful, with over 4,000 people visiting the open house in just over 8 days.
These were houses that were quite small. They couldn't have fit more than 25 people in at one time, I don't think. They furnished the house entirely, of course, by a local furniture dealer. They had clothes in the closet. They had food in the pantries. It was like you were ready to walk in and start living.
So they really set up this ideal lifestyle.
Yes.
And basically created with those model homes the opportunity to see yourself not just in the present but in the future.
Yeah.
This could be you,
right,
if only you bought this particular house.
In the 20s and 30s, we see a lot of ads for new subdivisions. Monte Vista, Granada Heights, Parkland Hills, the Terrace Edition. They were all just developing.
Although we do not know who developed this Parkland Hills marketing strategy, That person clearly knew what was needed to attract attention and was aided by the publishers of the Albuquerque Journal, who sent out staff members to cover the grand openings of spec homes in this new edition. The Journal had a weekly section on real estate and housing that ran articles and advertisements for new housing subdivisions and highlighted the works of various builders in the city. These mass advertising campaigns in the late 1920s were precedent-setting and set the stage for future real estate marketing campaigns. The Albuquerque Journal to this day publishes large advertising sections for homes on a regular basis. The era of the 1920s was one of growth and prosperity for the city. However, on October 24, 1929, the stock market crashed and financial uncertainty swept Albuquerque and the nation.